We were looking at acquiring a firm recently for our own practice here at Stamos and Stamos, and it was a smaller firm, not too far from here. But it was really important that we find out and do some right up front due diligence as to whether this was going to be a good purchase or not a good purchase. And fortunately, we were familiar with the area, and so it's the CPA firm was literally right on the doorstep from a very very large retirement community. And it was an older CPA that was selling the firm, and he had an older assistant slash bookkeeper that was working with him. And part of the deal was that they were both going to come with the purchase, which initially up front seemed like a great idea. We can buy this firm, we get the owner and his person to come in, we'll make sure that we transition the clients over. Well, relatively quickly, we found out that a major portion of this practice was individual taxes with the people in the retirement community. No problem with older people. However, they don't tend to be the best fees. I hate to say it, they have a shorter span of being your client because not only do they pass away, but they also sometimes don't need your work anymore. Once they stop working and they stop having income, a lot of older people don't have to file tax returns. And so when I was speaking with this gentleman, a lot of the firms or the returns that he was doing in his firm were very simple, very quick returns. He did probably 500 of them for elderly people in that community, and that constituted about 75% of his practice. So we decided to pass on that one, but in the meantime, we actually accepted a deal on another one last year where we purchased a $400,000 practice, almost all virtual. And that was an interesting practice. And we basically structured the deal so that we would pick up the clients that we kept and we wouldn't have to pay for the ones we didn't. And so I think everybody was happy. The seller was moving along really fast. So he wasn't going to be able to transition the clients over as much as we would have liked. He wasn't going to be able to help. But because he did that, we negotiated in a different sort of pricing, saying basically, look, these clients aren't going to know who we are. We're going to get it where we're going to get. And he understood that. And so that practice worked out really nicely for us. Although we probably only kept about 70% of the clients, I think we had to work pretty hard to do that. The downside is we didn't have to pay for more than that. The seller was happy because he was taking on a new job that he was going to work in. We were happy because we picked up a nice client base, and they're really good clients. And we learned that from our due diligence that the fee structure and the work and everything was fantastic. So that was a win-win for everybody in that case. And because we had experience in purchasing and helping our clients do that, we were able to transition that over for ourselves and add on to our firm, which we're still working this firm every single day. The other stuff really helped out in helping us understand what the process is and what's a good buy and what's not.